Making a Murderer Part 2, Episode 6. That is what we're discussing right now. And to Mitch in Green Bay. Hey, what's going on, Mitch?
Hey, man. Thanks for taking my call, John. Good show.
Thank you.
I have a question, though, on the common sense approach of on how there's no way, even one with mentally deficient, I don't think he's mentally, socially deficient, of course. But on how, common sense would tell you that anyone that just admitted to this has to know that they're in trouble, right? I mean, you have to know.
Mm-hmm. So
you say, well, common sense would tell you that he knew he was going to be in trouble regardless, right? Because the common sense would tell you. Well, why wouldn't that be applicable to other parts of the case? Like the key. He got blood everywhere, but on the key, well, common sense would tell you, if he had a cut finger and he handled the key, well, there should be blood on the key. Well, common sense would tell you that. I don't know if the dude did it or not, man. The jury of his peers, he was guilty. I get it, but I mean, just if you look at the common sense, like what he described in the bedroom, Dassey described, stabbed her, slit her throat. Yet she was still living in the bedroom. Yet not one drop of blood was found in there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, common sense would tell you, right? I mean, they did all this destruction in the bedroom, and if she's still alive, that means that heart's still pumping. Yet not one drop of blood was found in there. Well, not saying they didn't do it. It just, common sense would. If we're going to use it, saying. For Dassey, saying, well, common sense should tell, he should know that he got in trouble. He admitted to this. He's got to know that he's going down for it. Mm-hmm. Well, then that should be applicable to other parts of the story, correct? Or
well, Mitch, thank you very much for your call. We go back to the phone line once again to Phil in Harrison. How's it going, Phil?
Good morning, John. Thanks for taking my call.
Of course.
I'm really starting to enjoy your show, and I'm glad my wife doesn't listen, because this morning I'd be getting myself in hot water. I don't want to know anything more about this story. I was pretty disappointed when I heard you were going to discuss it, and I haven't watched it. I do live 150 miles away. I have friends in that area, so you'd have to live under a rock not to know.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm really finding interesting is the way people are coming to their conclusions, not just on this case, but on the great big picture, the things you spend most of your time talking about right now, the midterms. People it's like an automobile. You got a steering wheel, that's called intellect. You choose your road, you choose your lane. And then you've got emotion, it's called the gas pedal. How quickly you apply your energy.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're an idiot and you just rush out and get swayed by everything that stirs your heart, and I see a lot of people doing that these days, you're just a car blasting down the road until you hit a corner or another car or whatever. And if you're just sitting there with no emotion, just intellectually analyzing things, you're just a 5-year-old playing with a steering wheel and you're not going anywhere in life. So it's got to be some type of a balance. But the country, I'm disappointed, I'm alarmed. I'm also encouraged in a lot of ways, but there's a lot going on. And like this case is a good example. It's like CSI on Smorgasbord, all the stuff I keep hearing about, not just from you. My wife's been watching it. She's watched the whole thing. And I see people making decisions either based on their emotion or based on evidence and facts and try to deduct intelligent conclusions.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a really interesting time to be alive. I'm not sure if it's all this media, Facebook media and stuff. Everybody's getting to select their own choir they want to listen to and not hear another word. When I get done listening on the morning to you guys, I go to the libs in the afternoon. I want to know what they've got to say.
Well, and Phil, so do I, because I have to do opposition research for this show for the next day, so you and I both have to be put through that torture. Back to the phone lines again, less than a minute. Tom on the road. What's going on, Tom?
I will admit I have not seen The Making of the Murder, all that crapola. My girlfriend watched it, and all of a sudden she's got second thoughts about could they be in his... that's what this is all about, planting the seed of doubt.
Mm-hmm.
These lawyers that you're talking about in these legal arguments and all that stuff, you have to be really cautious because one thing is for certain. Look who appointed some of these judges on these circuit courts. Liberals.
Mm-hmm.
That is it. I told you once, and I'll tell you again, I want a judge that follows the Constitution and does not legislate from the bench.
Amen.
And I am absolutely sick, and this is really true. Just this morning, 1 hour ago, they were scanning Times Square in New York City. Guess whose ugly face was on the big Jumbotron or whatever they call that big screen in New York City? The Making of the Murder, Part 2. There's Stephen Dassey's mugshot.
Mike in Sturgeon Bay. How's it going, Mike?
Hey, good, John. How are you today?
I'm doing good, thanks. What do you have for us?
Okay, I have talked about this with a lot of people, and I know people in the vicinity where this crime took place that live down there. I'm up in Sturgeon Bay, as I said, but I know one thing, and that's junkyards. You've heard the old saying, meaner than a junkyard dog and all of this other stuff. You do not get in a junkyard, I don't care what town it's in, ask anybody. Nobody just was going to walk into Avery's salvage yard. Nobody, much less drive in with a vehicle, do all this stuff, burn a corpse, et cetera, without them knowing about it. You would never set foot on that property without catching some lead in your rear end or worse. And because they defend their property. And it's not just the Avery salvage yard, it's any salvage yard. You don't get in those places. I don't care if it's a Sunday at 9 o'clock at night. You don't get in there. And all of the things that would have had to happen, John, it's really important to note, all the things that would have had to happen in order for the conspiracy theory that this anti-police rhetoric has brought up, in order for all that to happen, all of these people would have had to been gone. It's literally impossible unless aliens picked up the entire Avery family and abducted them during the time of the crime and safely delivered them back after it was over.
I mean, that's pretty much what it comes down to, Mike, to believe that everything that would have needed to happen for the Averys not to have been responsible to have been the case.